Hi everyone, this is Vivi Stiletto Hands taking you to nostalgic wonderlands. If reminiscing fits your vibe, well, go ahead and hit subscribe. Today we're going to be going over some fascinating tidbits on the Strawberry Shortcake franchise, from obscure characters and controversies to some recent news that you may have missed. This video is basically an excuse to talk about one of my favorite nostalgic brands and some interesting lesser known info. Without further ado, let's get into it. 2017 Scrapped Series. In 2017, the Iconics brand group sold Strawberry Shortcake to DHX Media, which is now known as WildBrain. I will be referring to the company as such for the rest of this video. WildBrain is the company responsible for releasing the 2015 Peanuts movie, as well as being the animation studio for My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. The company was set to release a new animated series for Strawberry Shortcake and posted a screenshot of the characters online, as well as a teaser for the show. This was met with a lot of backlash from fans. People really did not like the characters' designs, and I do remember people posting memes about it online back in the day. I'm sorry, but she honestly looks like she's on crack or something. This Strawberry Shortcake just does not stack up against any of her past designs. I grew up with the 2003 series and I loved my girl in that, but honestly, if I had to pick, I'd say that the 1980s Strawberry Shortcake is my favorite, just so you know that I'm not blinded by my own nostalgia and just hating on things that are new. All of that to say, people of all ages on the internet unanimously agreed that this was the worst iteration of Strawberry Shortcake that they've seen to date. Upon receiving these negative reactions, WildBrain deleted all of their announcement posts and halted the project. I originally thought that the teaser video was lost media because it was kind of hard to find, but I did eventually find it and I'll play it for you now.
Oh no! Gotcha! I'm okay!
As you can see, it looks like they planned for the characters to have magical powers. I don't know if it's just me, but the overall vibe of this teaser is giving me like vibes from the Trolls movie. And I don't know if that's where they pulled their inspiration from, but the Trolls movie was very successful and it was only released a year prior. It could just be the little whimsical beings contrasted against the woodland scenery. I don't know what it is, but like I said, it was successful, so it would make sense if they took inspiration from that. Anyways, as mentioned, the series was scrapped, but some concepts were reworked to feature in the updated 2021 show Strawberry Shortcake Berry in the Big City. For example, lime chiffon and blueberry muffins designs are very similar to this promotional picture. Transberry Controversy. Strawberry Shortcake has always valued inclusion and acceptance. Since the beginning, the series has made a real effort to embrace diversity, introducing a wide cast of characters from many different backgrounds. They have included various people of color, like Orange Blossom and Cafe Ole, and there are many more that have been introduced to date. And I always think there's room for improvement, but it's clear that they have been trying. I'm mentioning this because it's important to highlight that for decades they've used their platform to include characters from underrepresented backgrounds. When Strawberry Shortcake Berry in the Big City came out in 2021, it made sense that they'd expand the cast to reflect today's more diverse world. In this iteration, Lime Chiffon has two dads, which were the first confirmed gay parents in the franchise. One of her dads, Fluffy Chiffon, is a creative fashion designer, while her other dad, Dr. Lime Pops, is a historian with a doctorate in archaeology. What I love about these characters is that they both have distinct personalities and hobbies beyond just being token characters. Their passions also shape the stylish and smart girl that Lime Chiffon is. The Chiffon family isn't played for shock or to serve a point, it's just presented as a normal part of Lime's life. Many kids don't see families like theirs on TV, so I think this kind of quiet representation is deeply meaningful. I come from a Middle Eastern background and I grew up in smaller towns where there wasn't a lot of people of color, and a lot of people didn't even know what my country of origin was. And I think that if there was more kids media at the time with Middle Eastern characters, then it would have cultivated more of an environment for kids to be interested and ask questions and therefore make me feel less alone. Instead, I feel like I was grouped together with a lot of ethnicities that I didn't belong to. People were always calling me things that I just wasn't. Representation really matters, not only for the kids themselves to feel connected, but to have others around them have a different perspective as well. When I see videos of Lime Chiffon's dads, thankfully a lot of the comments are positive, but there are still some hate comments complaining about showing this wokeness to kids. Newsflash, there's kids out there with gay parents. To add on to this, Banoffee is the first confirmed transgender character in the series, introduced in 2022. The cutest thing is that in their universe, they're called transberries.
As a transberry, I love living out loud as my most authentic self.
In the episode, The Fashion Show, Banoffee is a famous fashion model and celebrity that Lime Chiffon's dad gets to design a dress for. Strawberry and Lime are seriously fangirling over her.
My dad designed a dress for Banoffee. Banoffee?
Unfortunately, a few years after Banoffee's first appearance, there was a lot of backlash regarding her character. This happened in late 2025, and the reason the uproar was so late after her first appearance was because there was a lot of animated shows at the time that were under fire for being too woke and whatever, like Steven Universe and stuff like that. So Strawberry Shortcake, Berry in the Big City was kind of like roped into that. Many conservatives online believed that showing an openly trans character was promoting drag queens onto children and therefore somehow grooming them. I really find it sad when people see characters just existing as themselves, like they're really just being themselves, and people call it out as propaganda or trying to raise their kids like them. Like, no. The truth is that gay and transgender people just exist in our world, and by not talking about them, by not representing them, that's just an erasure of people in our society. Furthermore, the majority of media has had the same heteronormative narrative for centuries. Like, relax. They can't even take a sprinkle of gayness, right? Just a sprinkle. Anyways, Elon Musk intensified the backlash by telling parents to cancel Netflix for the health of your kids. He was making claims that shows like Strawberry Shortcake, Berry in the Big City were making sexualized content targeted towards kids. Sure, because showing a transberry in drag is so scandalous and sexualized. Meanwhile, this is what I grew up with and nobody batted an eye.
Hello, nurse.
So let me get this straight. The sexualization of women is okay, but showing a drag queen that's doing like literally nothing sexual, oh, well, that's just out of the question. I feel like the reason why brands are so afraid of giving people representation is because of people like this. People who are highly resistant to those who just don't fit inside of their perceived norm, especially when it's aimed at kids. However, I think we're moving in a direction where hopefully these voices will be quieter as the years go on. In the past, I couldn't dream of growing up with a confirmed transgender character in a kids show. So I'm happy that now it's not unheard of, and I'm just hoping that it'll get better as time goes on. From desserts to fruit. This one's going to be a quick one, but in 2008, Hasbro acquired the rights to Strawberry Shortcake, and they made a couple of changes. The biggest one to date being that they ditched all the characters that had purely dessert-themed names with no fruit mentioned, such as Ginger Snap or Angel Cake. They did this to favor the girls with fruit-forward names like Orange Blossom or Raspberry Tart. This was to align with concerns over child obesity. Don't look at me like, I don't know. I gotta show off these earrings more. Aren't they cute? They're cute, right? Oh, also, I did my makeup nice. Like, I don't know, I put like little rhinestones because I wanted you guys to see, but I feel like it's not really like showing up. So I wanted to do like a, get a little close here. At the time, people did not think the kids would notice, but as those kids got older, they began to grieve the loss of their favorite characters. I do think it's a shame that they moved so far away from their dessert-themed characters. My favorite thing about Strawberry Shortcake was the whimsical Candyland that they lived in. I loved the Strawberry Milk River and how all of the characters' houses matched their pastry-themed names. So cute. I also really loved sweets as a kid, and it didn't matter if I saw cakes in Strawberry Land or not. At the end of the day, I still love my cake, you know? Don't quote me on that. Watching that show cultivated my imagination, and it made me fantasize about what life would be like if I lived in a whimsical Candyland. I understand that Hasbro didn't want to seem like they were promoting obesity, but like, honestly, did anybody get that vibe? Like, I genuinely could not find any evidence that parents had complained about this or anything. I think it was more of a proactive decision on Hasbro's part. Like, maybe they thought people were going to complain about it. Luckily, there is still hope that they will lean more into their dessert-inspired roots in the future. In the latest series, there are characters like Bread Pudding and Caramella Eclair, and they have no fruit connotations in their name. Also, recently, Strawberry Shortcake has been marketing more of the older generations and not so much the new ones, and that kind of makes me think that they're trying to cater towards our nostalgia, so it might mean that they'll bring back some of our favorite dessert-inspired characters. If you're enjoying the video so far, please don't forget to give it a like or a dislike to let me know how you feel. I put a lot of effort into these videos, so I'd really appreciate it. Check out my outfit! I wanted to do a little cherry-inspired look. I know that Strawberry Shortcake is more like cottagecore, but I don't really got that. So this is what we're working with. My lovely friend got me this dress from France, which is kind of related to the video, you'll see. Obscure characters. In the Strawberry Shortcake franchise, there have been various characters that were introduced but then cut in other generations. Let's go through some of them together. Rainbow Sherbet. I think it would be fun to quickly go over the desserts that each character is based on. So of course, Rainbow Sherbet is based off of the iconic ice cream flavor with the same name. What is interesting is that the dessert Rainbow Sherbet is Rainbow Sherbet. It's not Rainbow Sherbet. But in North America, people commonly pronounce sherbet as sherbert. So I'm guessing that they probably spelled her name like that to not confuse some kids who are maybe just learning how to read. You know, they might be like, sherbet, sherbet, sherbet. Okay. The frozen dessert is made using a blend of 3 different flavors, which typically include orange, raspberry, and lime or pineapple. So it sounds very tart. Do you like the flavor? Like, I haven't had it in years, I feel. Interestingly, Rainbow Sherbet's design does not closely match the dessert that she's inspired by, but instead she embodies more of the rainbow part of her name. Now you may be wondering, what is the difference between a sorbet, a sherbet, and an ice cream? Well, the answer is that sorbets are water-based frozen desserts that contain no dairy, typically made using fruit puree for a light and tart flavor. On the flip side, ice cream is milk and cream based, and they have about 10% of milk fat, making them creamier. Sherbets are made using a mix of milk and water, so it's sort of a middle ground between a sorbet and an ice cream. They usually have a dairy percentage of around 1 to 2%. Anyways, let's get back to the character of Rainbow Sherbet. Rainbow Sherbet was first introduced in 2003. She debuted in the episode The Costume Party as a new neighbor in Strawberry Land. In this episode, each of the girls welcome her to the neighborhood by getting her a gift.
Nothing says welcome like a good old heavy-duty ball-peen hammer.
Girl, I don't know if that's just me, but that sounds threatening as hell. But actually, the real threat is Peppermint Fizz. Peppermint Fizz does not like Rainbow because she lives on her rainbow float boat and talks a bit differently as a nautical adventurer.
Whoa! Hey! Hold on now. No way am I eating grubs. No, grub means food. It's a word us boaters use. I see. Sorta.
You guys, this episode kind of reminds me of one of our last entries, I'm not gonna lie. Unfortunately, Rainbow hears Peppermint talking shit about her.
There's something wrong with the new girl. She's different. That's what. Peppermint! The way she lives on a boat and the way she talks, I don't want to be friends with someone like her, and you shouldn't either. Peppermint!
Strawberry tries to get Peppermint to like Rainbow, but she won't budge, and eventually Rainbow just plans on leaving Strawberry Land because of how much she gets hate crimed by Peppermint Fizz's crusty ass. If there's one thing we learned today, it's that it sure is hard being Rainbow, if you know what I mean. Strawberry tries to talk some sense into her, but Peppermint literally sings a whole song about how she doesn't like it when people are different and everybody should be just like her.
Not like me, she's not like me. The problem with this kid is that she's not like me.
Strawberry literally hates this and she starts scheming. She invites everyone to a costume party that's framed as a goodbye party for Rainbow. So of course, Peppermint is like, oh my god, like, I can't miss this. Bye, bitch. So, like I said, Strawberry's scheming, okay? It's a costume party, and she makes everyone dress the same as what Peppermint Fizz is gonna wear. So everyone shows up to the party dressed the same. Strawberry offers her some peppermint tea and some peppermint ice cream, but then she's like, oh yeah, since everyone's the same, you know, just like you wanted, there's actually none left. Oh, we had it all. Oh my god, sorry. Peppermint Fizz then realizes if everybody was the same, then her crusty ass wouldn't stand out and wouldn't get to eat all the ass ice cream like a fat ass. And that if everyone was the same, her crusty ass wouldn't be able to stand out like the terrible person she is. I can't stop bad-mouthing her. Okay, Peppermint Fizz then realizes if everybody was the same, then her crusty ass wouldn't be able to stand out. So she apologizes to Rainbow Sherbet and she stays in Strawberry Land. Unfortunately, we have not seen Rainbow Sherbet in other iterations of Strawberry Shortcake to date, most likely because of the aforementioned fruit-forward makeover that the franchise has committed to, but she is fondly remembered for her interesting character design and cute little pirate slang. Some fun trivia is that she has a pet toucan named Triple Ripple, and she's a good trumpet player. Also, her toys were actually Fruity Tooty or bubblegum scented instead of being Rainbow Sherbet scented, which I think is pretty interesting. Like, I don't know, do you think that's interesting? Is it interesting? Crêpe Suzette is inspired by a French dessert with the same name. It consists of crêpes with a sauce called beurre Suzette, which translates to Suzette butter. The sauce is usually made using a blend of butter, oranges, liquor, and brandy. It's basically a caramelized orange sauce that is then flambéed or set on fire to burn off the alcohol and give it more flavor. It's unclear who the dish was named after, but I'll tell you a story that's kind of the most popular consensus. In 1895, there was a chef named Henri Charpentier. Hey now, if there's one thing I'm not going to do on this channel, it's apologize for mispronouncing unfamiliar names that I barely attempted in the first place, okay? I'm going to look up each pronunciation, listen to it, and do my best to pronounce it properly, okay? I hate it when other people are like, Henry Charpentier? Sorry if I butchered that. Like, girl, you know we can look up pronunciations and learn them. Names are very important to me. How would you feel if someone messed up your name? Anyways, like I said, this chef, in 1895, he was making a dish for the future king, Edward VII of the United Kingdom, and one of his guests included a girl named Suzette. So while Henri was cooking, the crepes unexpectedly caught fire, and as you can imagine, like, he's cooking something for the king and his guests, or I guess like the future king and his guests. So he doesn't want to start all over. He doesn't want to waste their time. So he tastes a little bit of the sauce, and he's like, you know what? I think I ate with that. I think this is exactly what it needed. Allegedly, the king and his guests loved it, and Suzette, one of his guests, she politely curtsied and she was like, can you please name it after me? And he was like, oh my god, yeah. Whether this actually happened or not has been debated. Others say it was named after a popular French actress named Suzanne Reichenberg, who was also known as Suzette. Interestingly, despite being a dessert with an orange-based sauce, Suzette has no ode to oranges in any of her designs. In her 2003 iteration, she actually has some cherry motifs, which have nothing to do with the dessert she was inspired by. Apparently, the creators wanted to give her a unique color palette to make her stand out. So now let's go over Crêpe Suzette, the character, and her many appearances across different generations. In 1983, she was introduced as one of the many friends that Strawberry Shortcake met while traveling the world.
This is my good friend Crêpe Suzette and her French poodle, Eclair.
Settle down, Cupcake.
There's not much to say about Suzette in her first appearance other than the fact that she's from Paris. Spelt like pear. Paris. I love their puns so much. Her design in this iteration is very cutesy, aligning more with the Cabbage Patch Kid vibe that Strawberry Shortcake characters had at the time. Suzette and her dog both have a green and white stripe motif going on with a fleur-de-lis graphic on their bibs. I think her character in this generation was not really fleshed out and more of just a representation of someone from France, which is also clear in her character design. We don't know anything about her profession or what she likes to do for fun, but we just know that she's French. The stripe motif and the fleur-de-lis scream, I'm from France, okay? And she looks very stereotypical, but I'm not sure if she was necessarily offensive. I do think she looks really cute, especially with her brown skirt and matching hat. Not much else to say about her apart from her appearance, so let's go forward in time 20 years to look at the next time she returns. In 2003, Crêpe Suzette is more fleshed out as a character. She's a fashion designer from Paris who first gets in contact with Strawberry as a pen pal. Again, she's introduced as one of Strawberry's many friends from around the world, but this time she gets her own episode. Eclair is once again introduced as Crêpe's pet poodle, and I personally love her design. Strawberry travels to see her via hot air balloon, and after a crash landing, she meets up with Suzette. Suzette is known to be very dramatic, exaggerating stories, and panicking as soon as disaster strikes. I'm not gonna lie, Suzette is kind of a dick in this episode, and she was pissing me off. So basically, Strawberry and Suzette's pets run away at one point, and Suzette immediately starts freaking out, and she kind of blames Strawberry for the whole thing.
I'll get him. Custard, no! They'll get lost for sure. Eclair, no, come back! Disaster, calamity! Why did your poop cake and custard make my Eclair run away?
Strawberry suggests that if they both work together, they can find them faster, but Crêpe Suzette literally abandons her friend in a city she's never been to before and does not speak their language. Great.
No! I will find Eclair to start looking.
The resourceful queen that she is, Strawberry draws pictures of the pets and she shows the pictures to locals who then steer her in the right direction. Later on, Suzette and Strawberry find each other and they locate their pets with absolutely no thanks to Suzette. Suzette doesn't even really apologize. She just admits that they would have found their pets faster if they had worked together. Like, maybe apologize for leaving your friend all alone in a foreign city? Like, just a thought. I don't know. To give her credit, Clip Suzette lets Strawberry sleep over and she helps her repair her hot air balloon so she can return home. In this version, Suzette also has a little sister named Cherry Cuddler, who wasn't in the animated series, but was released alongside Clep Suzette in a toy set. In 2022, Clep Suzette returned in Berry in the Big City after over a decade-long absence. And this is the first time she's introduced as a character living among the others in the same city, rather than just being like a friend from around the world. In her debut, she is again a fashion designer. This is a really quick episode, but basically Lime Chiffon and Bread Pudding are having brunch together, eating croissants and talking about all things fashion, right? They see Clip Suzette and she's wearing a beautiful altered version of a waistcoat that Fluffy Chiffon designed. Remember, Fluffy Chiffon is Lime Chiffon's dad. So they want to befriend her naturally because they love fashion too. And they go up to her and Lime Chiffon is like, hey, do you want to have brunch with us? And Bread Pudding is like, yeah, have brunch with us in an hour. And then she's like, why would you do that? And he's like, well, everything needs to be avant-garde. Like, she's so cool. Like, we need to impress her. Oh my God. So he does up everything to make it avant-garde. He puts on a ridiculous outfit, all that kind of stuff. And when Clep Suzette arrives, she picks up on this immediately. She's like, oh, okay. And then Bread Pudding's like, do you like it? And she's like, well, do you like it? And they're like, no. And she's like, I don't know, I just kind of want to have a chill brunch outside, you know? And like, she just likes them for who they are. So they're like, okay, good, because we didn't want that anyway. They go outside and they have their chocolate croissants. And unfortunately, Eclair the poodle, she does not return for this version. Her appearance was very brief, so there's not really much to say about her, but a fun fact is that she's a really good roller skater. And she's able to pull off a really difficult move called the triple tiramisu twist. All right, now let's talk about the Berry Princess. The Berry Princess is probably the most obscure character we're talking about today, since she only appeared in one episode called Meet the Berrykins in 1985, and then she never returned. The episode goes like this. Strawberry and her friends are berry picking when they see that the fruits that they picked have sprung to life. The Berry Princess appears, revealing that they are her berrykins and they are responsible for producing the scent of each fruit in their land. And they are so cute!
Berrykins, say hello to Strawberry Shortcake and her friends.
So the Berrykins, they have these powers to make all the fruit smell good, but the Berry Princess also has some of those same powers in her little wandy thing. Based on her ability to make things smell nice and her overall appearance, she actually really reminds me of Peppermint Rose dolls, which I talked about in a past video, so go check that out if you're interested. So meanwhile, Sour Grapes and the Pie Man are struggling to make a perfume of their own, but it keeps on stanking because for some reason Sour Grapes keeps on wanting to make it savory and adding like chicken and gravy. I don't know what the hell she's doing, but for some reason she thinks that's going to make the perfume smell good. They accidentally release the stinky scent into a rain cloud, making everywhere smell bad. Plum Puddin', who is like the smart one of their group, then explains they need to get rid of the source of the bad smell because if it rains while that poopy perfume is in the rain cloud, then it'll make all of Strawberry Land stank forever, I guess. So the Berry Princess uses her beauty and her charm to low-key flirt with the Pie Man and convince him to stop releasing the stinky gas.
Oh, surely a man of your intelligence can see the adverse effect this rain would have on the environment.
But Sour Grapes, she's quick on it. She does not let this happen. And her crow actually kidnaps the berrykins and delivers them to her so that she can use them to make a good perfume. You know, she wants to make money by exploiting other people. Pretty modern stuff. Strawberry Shortcake manages to save the berrykins, and at the last second, the Berry Princess goes up into the clouds and she infuses them with wonderful fragrances so that when it does rain, it actually smells good. I love that she actually gets her hands dirty and she joins everyone on the quest. I feel like a lot of kings and queens from girls media just like do nothing while the main cast does all the work. I'm looking at you, Enchantress from Fairytopia, and I'm also kind of looking at you, Princess Celestia. Anyways, at the end, she asks Strawberry and her friends to look after her berrykins, and she's like, goodbye for now. She never came back. She never comes back after that initial appearance, despite the berrykins still showing up in the franchise. Don't you think it's wild that she basically like abandoned her children children. Like, I don't know, maybe she just didn't want to take care of them anymore. I really wish that she made another appearance. I do adore those ultra feminine characters who are also very strong, and I think that she's the epitome of that. Even though she didn't return for another animated appearance, she was in a comic issue. There have been other characters introduced who are sort of like her, such as the ruler of Berrykins, Princess Berrykin from Berry Bitty Adventures. There's also their Santa Claus equivalent, Cinnamon Swirl from Berry in the Big City, who has Berrykins help her make cookies, but like, they're just not her. Guys, so many of these like series sound the same. Like, it was driving me crazy. There's Berry Bitty Adventures, and then there's Berry in the Big Apple City. Like, they're all like big tongue twisters, and it's hard to keep track of them, and it's hard to be like, am I saying the right one? But anyway, I hope she comes back one day. Whitewashing Controversy. This controversy is more well known and admittedly a little outdated, but I thought I'd talk about it anyway. Back in 2009, when the designs for Strawberry Shortcake were revealed, some people were outraged at Orange Blossom's drastic difference in skin tone and features. In 2003, she was a dark-skinned black girl with textured hair. But in 2009, they lightened her skin tone a lot and gave her flowy, wavy hair, as opposed to the tight curls that she was known for. Another complaint was that there was no way to distinguish her from other characters besides her slightly darkened skin tone. And despite what other people may think, there's a lot of ways you can identify someone's race besides just their skin tone. This is a big problem because there was nothing wrong with Orange Blossom's skin tone and hair texture, so it raises some eyebrows on why they decided to change it. It sent a message that lighter skin and Caucasian features were seen as superior. And for that moment in time, dark-skinned girls lost that representation. Of course, light-skinned people deserve their own representation as well, but dark-skinned people in general do not get the spotlight enough as it is, so taking that representation away was particularly cruel. Luckily, in Berry in the Big City, Orange Blossom's original dark skin tone and textured hair was brought back, so it seems like they've learned from their previous mistake. Latest series. On February 4th of this year, the Strawberry Shortcake YouTube channel released a teaser for an upcoming series. In the description, they described it as a sort of baking show that has a mix of live action and animation, as well as having some mini-sodes as well. The reaction to this new design was very mixed. Some people absolutely loathe the 3D design, and they said that it looked too much like AI. Some other people liked how it was reminiscent of her design in the 80s. It's interesting how you see a lot of people in the comments just missing the iteration that they grew up with. For example, some people were saying, oh my god, like, why did you give her short hair when she was actually depicted as having short hair as far back as her first appearance? I'm not saying that these people are wrong for missing the iteration that they grew up with. I feel the same way too, to an extent. It's just interesting to see the franchise grow and evolve. I imagine it's hard to cater to everyone when we all have our own idea of what she should look like. They've also released a Roblox Strawberry Shortcake collab update where players can bake their own cakes and participate in a cake-off, the Careberry Switch. In October of 2024, it was announced that Strawberry Shortcake and the Care Bears would be banding together for the first time in a 44-minute animated special. The storyline was that Strawberry Shortcake and Cheer Bear would wish upon the same star in their own worlds for a new adventure. This would then open up a magic portal that allows the two characters to switch places and journey through each other's worlds. Of course, infamous villains from each franchise would return. Purple Pie Man and No Heart scheme to cause chaos to Strawberry and Cheer Bear, which prompts the two worlds to come together to defeat evil and save the friendships that they've just built. Fans of both brands were beyond excited, especially by the retro art style of the promotional poster and the 2D animation. I mean, who could blame them, honey? Strawberry Shortcake and the Care Bears have both had a history of over 40 years and are fondly remembered across many generations. It would be amazing to see them team up together. Unfortunately, I have not heard any recent news regarding the project, and I even reached out to WildBrain's PR team, but I haven't had a response yet. While there has been no news of the animated special, fans have noticed a collab in their merchandising across various stores like Target, Walmart, and even online. Some say that this may be evidence that they're gearing up for the anticipated release. Well, that's it for this video. I would love to hear your thoughts on the controversies and news. If there's any characters I forgot to mention or any fun facts you'd like to share, feel free to do so in the comments. Also, politely let me know if I got anything wrong. I'm Vivi Stiletto Hands, and I'll see you next time in Nostalgic Wonderlands. Bye!